Meanwhile, in the dead end, I drop a light into the engine. I spin 8 cylinders by hand. And the 530 gets a spot treatment.
Huh? Where am I? What's happening? Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Welcome back to Dead End Restorations, where average Joe, me, with my bachelor's degree in back-to-back meetings, is professionally restoring this fine manual V8 5 Series. This is part 3 of Project E34, and in this episode, I'm going to finally get rid of whatever remaining rust there is left, and don't worry, I'll make it quick. And we're going to get this fine V8 purring like a kitten, like I know she was meant to be. So stick around, enjoy the show. Here's a good tip. If you ever want to test if your car has a limited slip differential, aka LSD, lift the car off the ground, put it in gear, and spin the tires. If they both spin in the same direction, you've got a limited slip. If they don't, it's an open diff. Let's check this one out. So I'm rotating clockwise on this one. And the other wheel is going counterclockwise. Shiza. Okay, moving on.
Alright, I'm just doing a before and after time lapse here. If you want to see the full grind fest rust removal and fixing episode, check out part 2. It's in the description below. Nothing particularly noteworthy here other than the usual E34 dented rocker panel from a misplaced lift arm that slid off. I'm only putting primer to protect it from the elements until I send it off to the body shop for a new paint job. Okay, it's time for the last piece of the rusty puzzle on the E34, and that is the sunroof. As you can see, it's got some rusty spots along the edges, and also worryingly, not sure how well you can see that, but it does move around a bit, so no wonder some water has gotten in here underneath and rusted the edges and even the center parts. So time for this to come out. Haven't even tried opening this, so let's see it if it opens, and let's take it out and get rid of this crustiness. Success! Next, carefully pry the plastic clips to remove the sunroof inner panel and slide it back. All right, now that the sunroof is tilted back up, we got 3 T25 Torx over here on each side, so let's go ahead and take those off. Okay, screws are out. Now let's lift this bad boy. I swear I'm not this short. The car is jacked up off the ground by about 1.5 feet. Or so I say. And voila, insta drop top. So first things first, every stock E34 that I've seen has some sort of padding sound deadening here, and this one does not, which makes me think this may have been taken off at some point, may have been resprayed. Nonetheless, here we can see some crispy bits along the edges here. Now we're going to go ahead and take off these this rubber surround is going to go. I bought a new one, and that's actually the cause of this, is as you can see back here, it swells up and fails, lets water in, the water then collects and the moisture collects, and it becomes a nice incubation center for rust. So that's what we're going to do next. Same rust story with the sunroof, grind, wipe down, apply rust converter, and I put it away until I send it off for painting. All right, it's time to do the spark plugs. It's running really rough and kind of dying at cold start idle. So I want to see what's happening with the plugs. It could be a fuel filter issue. It could be the plugs, but we're going to change both. It's just, let's see what happens. There's a
tiny bit of oil puddling at the bottom here. I'll show you guys in a sec. That sometimes will cause issues with misfires in the spark plugs with oil going in there. Now it's time to take out the coil packs. These are all original, by the way. Bremmy BMW. Nice. Not sure how well you can see, but there's a little bit of oil shining down where the spark plugs are. And you can see some residues. All right, we're going with Bosch OEM spec spark plugs. These are the kind with 2 prongs, as specified by the manual. Wonder what kind of plugs are going to come out of the car. First thing you want to do before you take out the plugs, just in case there's any oil that's left over, grab a rag and a long flathead screwdriver and just stick it down in there and pick up any loose oil. In my case, there's not a ton down here. I've seen it a lot worse, but you don't want the oil to unnecessarily be burning down in the combustion chamber. Drop a flashlight into your engine. Why not? Here's what they look like after. Right, so which one do you think it's going to run better with? This or that? Surprised any of you even did anything at all. The fact that it was running is a miracle. Okay, next plan of attack is the fuel filters, which live here behind the right rear wheel. So let's get started. And presto. Weirdly, they seem to have gotten longer with age. Also, interestingly, the original one says Auslauf, which I presume means it's the original one because it has no other markings on it. So let's see how much better the car's going to run with these guys in. Restore an old BMW, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Actually, that's a lie. Nobody would say that. There we go, nice and tight. Okay, we've got O2 sensors replaced, spark plugs replaced, fuel filters replaced. Let's see how she idles now. Check engine light is back on again. Okay, so what I think is happening is we've got a vacuum leak somewhere. Let's test for that. So I started poking around in here and I didn't even start spraying or turning the engine on yet. I just kind of wiggled this. And look at the amount of play over here. I just loosened this, but this is completely disconnected, this intake boot. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna button this back up and hopefully this takes care of the issue, but no wonder it's not running properly. There's a massive air gap right here by the throttle body. Yeah, okay, so the previous owner must have been messing around here. He told me he was playing around with the mass airflow sensor thinking that that might have been the culprit. All right, let's see if this holds up. Don't let me down. All right, so now we're gonna do the carb cleaner vacuum test. And let's start spraying around here slowly and see if we get the idle to jump. No, not there. But actually, if you're listening to it, maybe it doesn't actually have a vacuum leak. It seems to be idling very, very happily. It's not stuttering, seems to be sounding perfect. And guess what? Check engine light is gone. Seemingly no vacuum leak. Look at that. All right, carry on. So it looks like we've got a pretty happy engine, vacuum leak wise. The carb spray cleaner test yielded no changes in revs going up or down, So I think it's safe to say we're pretty good there. Check engine light went away, and the idle is smooth as silk. So, well, so far. I have no idea how old this oil is or what the service intervals have been. Again, I have 0 service records on this car. So we're going to do Liqui Moly engine flush. We've got the engine up to operating temperature. I'm going to dump this in. We're going to run it on idle for 10 minutes, and then we're going to drain the oil. So, vámonos. Let's get to it. Crack you open. All right, drink up, my friend. Like burping a baby. So now we're going to let this run for 10 minutes and flush away. Okay, now we're going to lift the car, but first we're going to crack this open. Okay, let's get the car lifted. All right, so while the oil is draining, let's crack open this guy. Let it go faster. And there is our oil filter.
I'm using Liqui Moly Race Tech Synthetic in 10W60.
Let's pop off the old rubber gasket. Give the new one a coating of fresh oil. New copper washer for the drain plug. That's good to go. Slide the new filter into the housing. I don't have a nut this size, so I'm just going by feel on this one. Now let's button up the bottom and fill her up. Time for the liquid honey. The M60 takes 8 liters. 8 liters in the M60 of fresh oil. I decided to take out this disgusting looking K&N and put in an OEM one. So that's gone, and so is this. And we checked the level here, and it's all good to go. Now let's fire it up and see how she sounds and top up if necessary. I mean, would you listen to that? That is beautiful. Silky, silky smooth. Is there anything more manly than hand revving a V8? I'm so happy that this thing is purring like a kitten. Now that the old girl's running properly again, I feel like she needs a bit of a treat. And just like that expired condom you've had in your wallet since high school, it's time for this one to go. That's right, you know who you are. All right, so my plan of attack here is to use a steamer, an attachment that has like a flat edge bit on it, a trim tool with also a flat edge so we can minimize any damage to the paint. And I also need to take off this kind of glue residue that's over here on the headlights. And the other one is completely kind of smoked out with the old 3M film on it. So let's see how this works. At the very least, it's going to warm me up and the garage a bit, so it's not all bad. I should probably make it clear that I do plan on repainting this entire car, so I'm not really bothered if I'm leaving hairline scratches in the clear coat or anything like that. The reality is this whole car is probably going to get a whole new paint job, if not half of the car at the very least. So don't hate on me for, taking a piece of plastic onto the paint. Feast your eyes on the mountain of crap that I peeled off of this thing. I'd say it probably took a good 4 hours just to get to this point. Now we're going to get into the goof off, and definitely going to mask up for this one because it is quite stinky.
And after 2 more hours of inhaling the goof off, we have a condom-free front end. Look at that.
What did I tell you? I knew we could get this beauty purring again, and what a beauty she turned out to be. look at that front end. Clearly the 3M condom did its job over the last 25 years. It looks highly respectable for a change. And I think we can officially ditch the silver turd naming for now. Love to hear your thoughts on what you think we should call her. Drop a comment below. In the next episode, I'm going to completely refresh the cooling system, the power steering lines, all of the issues going on there. Then we're going to do a full mechanical overhaul of the suspension, the brakes, all the bodily fluids to get it 100% mechanically perfect. Then I'm going to go full OCD on the interior, get that looking brand new, replace the windshield, and the pièce de résistance at the end is going to be prep and full paint job to look at 100% brand new OEM 530 V8 manual. I hope you had fun watching the show and the series. Hopefully you're learning something and at least being entertained at the very least. Please consider subscribing if you're enjoying what you're seeing. Give it a thumbs up. It all helps the channel grow. And in the meantime, I'm going to catch you later and get back to work. Ciao, ciao.